Welcome back to JRG Guitars Up. Today, another episode in our headless build. We left off last time with some work on the body and the neck and the fretwork, but up today we're going to continue on with that process, doing some buffing and polishing and joining that neck together and getting some other steps going along till we can get this thing ready to rock. So let's dive right into it, coming right at you. All right, so we're setting up here for the buffing station. So I've got my drill motor set up with a buffing wheel sort of on the end of it. And then I start here with the sides with a little bit of buffing compound, then a polishing compound, and then a scratch out. So it's a three-step process. I've done this before on other builds. It works pretty well. I get in there trying, it looks like I'm pushing on there pretty hard, but I'm actually not trying to push too hard, letting the buffing wheel do the work, and it makes a mess. You know, you turn that thing on, you keep it a little bit moist, and it just sprays everywhere. You can see some of that spray out on the ground. I like to keep it nice and moist, so it goes, and as you turn that on, yeah, you can see that fly all over the place. This is definitely a job for outside. So again, applying a little bit of moisture to the body itself. There's moisture on that pad, and then I just roll through, trying to buff out all the little corners. It's tough on the nooks and crannies to really get in there with this type of buffing wheel. Here we are, a slightly different angle here, and this is actually my final component. It is the scratch out, so it's the one that's going to get the most fine scratches out and give it its highest gloss we can get. So I put liberally some of that on there, wipe it in there. You definitely get this compound all over you when you're doing it like this, but that's okay. The results are pretty good. So I have found there's a couple times as I've been doing this that I have gotten just a little too close to the hardened part of that bass, and it digs into the guitar. So I'm real careful to keep it right on the body only and make sure that I try to buff that thing up and not have any sort of gouges or anything that gets into that body. Now it is time for me to make sure that the neck will fit into the body properly. As I applied finish to the guitar, I had taped off this cavity, both for the staining and the top clear coat, but I purposefully left a little ridge right on the very top so that the finish would roll over ever so slightly, and that will make a more natural line right there when I fit the neck in. But I do need to knock down that finish just a hair, so I come in with some very fine sandpaper and just get the edges cleaned up so the neck will fit in nice and perfect. Pretty good right there. All right, here we go. So we've got the neck seated in there, squished in as much as we can get. I've got a drill bit here which fits very snug and very nice into these holes, so I know that it will sit right into the hole. It's exactly where I want it. I'll put a little Sharpie on the bottom of it. We'll push it down. That'll mark my hole where then I can drill it after taking the neck off. So that was exactly it. I take that little drill bit, just using it as a marker. I put some Sharpie on the end of it, push it through the hole, just give it a little bit of spin, and hopefully transfer that Sharpie mark off onto the maple part of the neck. Actually worked. Pretty excited about it. Yeah, so that was exciting indeed. Now I'm coming through with a little bit of sandpaper and just cleaning out the holes where the ferrules will slip in. I want to make sure that the ferrules fit in nicely and are flush with the back of the body so that when the screw goes in there, it's just a clean feel on your hand. No ferrule sticking up or anything like that. So here's one of those instances where you do have to double check the hardware provided. And this is the screw provided for the neck bolt-on, and it is actually too long. If I hold my neck up against this here, and I'll turn to the side so hopefully we can see. You can see how long that screw is. It actually goes through the neck portion into the fretboard. So here we are out here. I'm just going to cut those screws down with my Dremel tool. This actually took a little bit of time. If I had some sort of bolt cutter or something, it might have been faster, but I just basically sanded that groove into there to where I could then pop it off. Once I snap it off, I just come inside on the file and just sort of kiss off those sharp edges so that it'll go in nice and clean, and away we go. So here I've taken those markings that I've made. I did a quick little tap with a center punch to get a nice mark in there, and then I'll drill a pilot hole first just to mark it in with the depth down to the hosel on my drill motor so I don't go into the fretboard. That's my depth. Double check it there, looks good. So now I come with the actual size of a screw that I'll put in here that then I can thread later. That little masking tape on there as my depth marker, and it also works like a fan and sort of blows all that sawdust away as I go. Come in with my countersink bit to help just take the burr off of here. So I've fitted this screw with, that's where my fretboard is, so I don't want to go down to there. And I'm just going to pre-thread these holes. Yeah, I found it very important to pre-thread the holes so I don't get any cross-threading as I go in there. So now they're ready to rock. All right, time to join the neck. So here we go. We've got our drilled holes all cleaned up, ready to go. Really nice fit. And here it is. Looks pretty good. And now the final part here is the attachment up at the top of the neck. This is just the mounting bracket that sort of holds the ball end of the string in there. 2 screws is all that holds it in, and then the tension of the screws keeps it on there. So this is a very important part of the process of where I'm mounting the bridge. I put a string, 2 strings on there, high and a low E, so I know when I can line it up with the fretboard that I'm not going to have one string hanging one side or the other too much, and then I can measure it out for the depth of my scale length, come in with a Sharpie, just marking on the body where I'm going to put those holes, where then I can drill them in. So I've got all the holes marked and a little center punch in them, and I'm now going to drill the hole that will facilitate screwing it in. I've got my drill bit set here with a depth when I get close to the edge there that will be the appropriate depth, nowhere near running the risk of running through. So here we go. And that's exactly it. So I come in, try to hold the drill motor as level as possible. If I had a drill press, probably would be the better choice, but I don't. So here we go. We just drill them nice and straight, get them in there, and then we can mount this boy on. Well, holes are drilled. So I had to remove the saddles to be able to get access to the screw holes, but I put those in, coming in with a drill motor and then finishing it off by hand with a screwdriver. And now I come back and put each individual saddle on there, where then that gives me the ability to adjust the action and the intonation. So now I'm going to come in here before I continue much further. I'm going to clean off some of this buffing compound and polishing residue on here. This is just a little toothbrush with just some isopropyl alcohol on there. And I'm just sort of cleaning up all that compound where I can then know I'll get a good adhesion here from my shielding tape that I'm putting on. And I plan on shielding up all of these pickup cavities and the back cavity and all that, where it will look right like a spaceship coming out of the 1960s. Here I am, handheld. I've got all of the shielding tape in here, covering all 3 pickup cavities beautifully. I've got all of my holes that I'll use for feeding wires through plumbed and now ready for electronics. Turning over, we can see I have the back cavity fully shielded as well, so we will try to reduce all hum as best we can. We're looking good. All right, so there we go. Another nice episode with some good progress. I tell you, there's something really satisfying about joining a neck and a body together. You start to feel it. It's going to be a guitar. It's no longer just pieces. So thank you very much for tuning into this episode. I certainly do appreciate if you like this type of content. If you're enjoying the videos, I urge you to hit that like button, press the subscribe button, and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll be able to let you know the next time a video will be coming out to you. So we have the guitar all ready to go now. We just got to get some electronics in there, get things wired up, get some tuning stability and intonation set up, and we'll be ready to plug in and hear how it sounds. So thank you very much. We'll see you next time on JRG Guitars.
JRG Guitars.